Yeah. One more question. Recently, a lot of Taiwanese people ask me the same question. They want to buy a house in the Netherlands, so for this purpose, they will transfer a kind of big amount of money from Taiwan to the Netherlands.
Yes.
Yeah, they always think about anything we should take care, or yeah, we need to know first. Do you have
Yes.
any suggestion, or
Yeah, that's a very good point, because I
Mhm.
have the same with my Taiwanese clients. They're often transferring money or gifts from their parents, or they sold a house in Taiwan.
Yeah.
When in Europe, there are very strict laws to control money laundering and terrorism. So
Mm.
when a large amount of money is being transferred to your bank account, you have to prove that this is your money. You
Yeah.
have to prove where the money has come from.
Mhm.
And so when you are buying a house, um, the bank in the Netherlands will want to know, so the bank you are transferring the money to will want to know where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
The mortgage provider that is giving you the mortgage will also want to know where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
And also the notary that's going to do the transfer of the ownership will
Yeah.
also want to know where the money is coming from.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there are a lot, but once we arrange, so I will help you with this, of course, how to
Mhm.
arrange this transfer correctly and how to prove it's your money.
Mhm.
Then you can use the same document for all the different, how do you say, places that you have to go to. Um,
Yeah.
but what is important is, if it's a gift from your parents,
Yeah.
we can use a gift letter. So I'll make a gift letter in English stating that the parents are giving the money to the children to buy a house, and the money can be transferred from the parents' account in Taiwan to the
Mhm.
children's account in the Netherlands. Or what's also possible, if it's already on your children's account in Taiwan,
Mhm. Taiwan. Mhm.
Taiwan, and then transferred to the Netherlands. Sometimes we have to prove that there has been the money has come from your parents' account in Taiwan to your children's account in Taiwan. So we just need
Mhm.
to show the money flow. We have to
Okay.
follow the
So
money.
in this case, should we take care about giving tax or
That's a good
something?
question.
Yeah. Mhm.
There is no tax in the Netherlands if your parents are giving you money. So, for example, you, Mystique, you are here in the Netherlands. Your parents
Yeah.
want to transfer 100,000 euros to you here in the Netherlands. There is
Mhm.
no tax.
Oh,
It's free.
no tax.
Free of
Uh-huh.
tax. Yeah. So I don't know whether there's a tax in Taiwan, but in the
Yeah.
Netherlands, there's no tax.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I don't know.
Yeah.
I
So that,
suppose always tax.
no, there's no tax. Um, there are some banks, they want to see that you have the money on your bank account in the Netherlands. So some Taiwanese clients, they come to the Netherlands, but they are leaving their money in Taiwan.
Mhm.
Then they want to buy a house, but
Mhm.
um, so they have to transfer the money to the Netherlands, and that takes time, because you have to convert from your currency to euros. Some banks you cannot transfer very much in one time, so
Yeah.
sometimes it takes a bit longer. Sometimes we can go to a bank that doesn't need to see the proof that the money is on your bank account. We just have to explain where your money has come from.
Mhm.
So the mortgage provider. So, for example, you are buying a house for 300,000 euros, and you're putting 50,000 euros in yourself. Then we
Mhm.
don't have to show the bank account that has the 50,000 euros. I will make an explanation saying, I trust that I have seen that you have this money, and you have to make sure that the money is on your bank account on the day that you buy the house, because obviously you need the money to buy the house. But we
Mhm.
don't have to prove to the mortgage provider that you have the money. But there are only a few mortgage providers that will allow this. Most mortgage providers, they want to see that you have the money in the Netherlands.
So,
But yeah,
okay.
but so this is an important point, because a lot of Taiwanese transfer a lot of money to the Netherlands. Make sure you have the bank account statements from Taiwan, which shows that it's your money in Taiwan, and it's being transferred to the Netherlands. Some banks will then want to know, how did you obtain this money? So if you are very young, 28 years old, and you're transferring 100,000 euros, they will ask questions. How were you able to save this much money?
Yes.
Yeah. So
in this case, also proof.
So we need to explain exactly. So either you had a very high salary with big bonuses, or you received a gift from your parents, something like this. So we have to prove it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have a weird or sensitive question. Some people ask me, some people already live in the Netherlands probably for a couple of years, and for a tax return, they never, claim the money in the Taiwan.
Yeah.
But in the moment, they were to buy a house. So in this moment, they just transfer amount of money from Taiwan. Their concern is, in this case, Dutch government will know I have a lot of money in Taiwan.
Yeah.
Then will probably cause some tax.
Indeed. So I'll explain the official how we have to do this officially and what the consequence is. And if somebody is interested in to know how to arrange this, we can arrange that by email. We will discuss this by email.
Okay.
We won't do this on YouTube. But so when you live in the Netherlands, you have to declare your money. And you have to declare your money all over the world. So if you have money in Taiwan and you do your tax return in the Netherlands, you should state, or you must state, that you have money in Taiwan, because the Dutch government will tax you.
Yeah. For box 3, right?
Correct. So in the Netherlands, we have 3 tax levels: box 1, box 2, box 3. Indeed, your fortune, your money, your savings is box 3. And the tax is, if it's cash savings, the tax is very, very low. So it's only per 100,000 euros, it's about 400 euros per year. Per year. So it's very low. If you are investing this money, so if it's stock, then you pay approximately 2.2% tax over this money. So if you have 100,000 euros in stock, you're paying about 2,200 euros in tax. But so if you have the money in Taiwan and you're investing it and you're not telling the Dutch government, they are missing tax income, and this is illegal. So when you then later transfer the money to the Netherlands, the tax authorities might ask you, where did this money come from? And then you will have to explain why you haven't told the tax authorities that you had money in Taiwan, and then this can lead to a fine. So you will have to pay the tax that you haven't paid previously, and then probably you will have to pay a fine because you didn't tell the tax authorities.
Yes. So I mean, so even you just transfer money to your own bank, but the tax authority will know this income.
No. So the Dutch banks only communicate once a year with the tax authorities, and this is on the 1st of January. So on the 1st of January of every year, your bank will send information to the tax authorities and will let them know how much money there is on the bank account. So if you receive money on the 10th of January, the tax authorities will not know. If you then buy a house in June, the money is gone into the house and there's no more money on your bank account. So
tricky.
But so this, a lot of people do this. But if maybe one day the tax authorities say, "Hey, how did you buy this house? We see that you put 100,000 euros in this house. Where did the money come from?" Then again, you have to explain. So it is a danger. It's a bit risky, but there are ways to solve this.
Okay. And you just mentioned about box 3, there are two different. One is saving, and the other one is investment.
Yes.
And probably when tax authority were to check how many money do you have in the investment,
Yes.
in this moment, probably some people will transfer this money to the saving. Then will reduce the tax.
That's a good question. Yes. So the tax authorities have also thought about this.
Yeah.
The tax authorities will also, since this year, they will look at the situation on, I believe, the 1st of October. I think the 1st of October. So if you had stock, so you would have to sell your stock in September. Put it in cash on your bank. And then in January, you would have to buy the stock back again.
Okay, one quarter.
Yeah, so yeah, indeed. So it gets a bit complicated.
Okay.
But
okay.
in theory, yes. In theory, yes, you are allowed to do this. Yes.
Okay. Okay, let's go next question. For now, do you have any suggestion or advice for the house buyer, probably from Taiwan? Do you have any suggestion or yeah?
Yes. Yeah. A mortgage meeting, a first mortgage meeting is free of charge. So
yeah,
I advise you, if you're interested in buying a house, make an appointment. We have a discussion, and so you know exactly what you how much you can borrow, and the whole application process and house buying process will be explained. So always do that before you start looking for a house. Something else which is very important is you're coming to a country where you don't know the housing market, how it works, and it's often a good idea to use a buying agent to help you buy a house. However, be very careful with which buying agent you work. You have buying agents who are very trustworthy, who will help you, and they will help you find the best deal and the best house for you. But most buying agents, I'd say more than 80% of the buying agents, they just want to sell this house to you and move to the next client.
Yeah.
So they will
deal.
make a deal. So they will
Yeah.
push you to maybe pay too much, to have conditions which are not so nice. So interview your buying agent, and or ask your friends with who they worked to find a good buying agent. Yeah, I know you worked with a very good buying agent. I've been working with him for many years. This guy is very, very good, but he's only in a certain region from Den Bosch to Eindhoven. But if you are buying in the Amsterdam area or Rotterdam area, the buying agents are very, very aggressive with the trying to push the deal. Yeah.
Okay, and before the first appointment with you, anything the buyer should prepare?
Yes, it's important to know what your income is. So to make any calculations, I need to know your gross annual income. It's also important that if you want to get a mortgage in the Netherlands, you need to have either a permanent contract, or if you have a 1-year contract, that your employer is prepared to give you a letter of intent. This means that they will give you a fixed contract at the end of your 1-year contract. So this is a very normal document that Dutch employers can supply, but it's important that you know whether you have a fixed contract or whether you will get a fixed contract. So I need to know your income. You think about how much money you want to put in the house, and in this way we can make a good calculation.
Okay, yeah, quite important. Okay, the last question. Yeah, I think that's quite interesting. I think you have served a lot of Taiwanese people, right? Yeah. Do you found any special feature from this Taiwanese people? Yeah, any
I think the Taiwanese clients are very easy to work with. You are very clear, honest. So that is very easy for me to work with you. The great thing is you always have some savings, so it makes it much easier to buy a house when you have savings compared to when you have very little savings. It makes it a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
But I think the Taiwanese, somehow they're very similar to the Dutch in terms of communication. Of course, it's in English compared to Dutch, but I think you are also quite direct in your communication. If you want something, you say what you want. Compared to I have lived 10 years in Asia, so I know a lot of in the Asian culture, people are careful to what they say to somebody else. So I think the Taiwanese are more European in this sense where they communicate much more direct.
Okay. Do you think Taiwanese people is buy a house soon? I mean,
yes.
It's very quickly to find a house.
Absolutely, yes. Most Taiwanese I know, they want to buy a house within 3 or 4 months of arriving in the Netherlands. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I feel now.
Yeah, very quickly. Yeah, but it's also interesting to buy compared to renting. You know yourself, in the Eindhoven area, if you want to rent a house, you're paying maybe 1,500 euros, maybe 2,000 euros.
Yeah.
In Amsterdam, it's even worse.
Yeah.
And you're just throwing away the money.
Yeah.
If you are buying for a mortgage of, say, 400,000 euros, it will cost you maybe 1,800 euros a month. But in this amount, half the money goes to paying off the mortgage. So
Yeah.
it's much cheaper to buy a house than to rent a house. So if you are expecting to stay in the Netherlands for 5 or 6 years, it's interesting to buy. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Thanks, Nick, having this good discussion and information to share to us.
Thank you.
If you would like to contact Nick, I will leave Nick's information in the description field. You can easily to find the information. And the most important thing is if you told Nick you are recommended by me, probably you will get a nice discount.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Yes.
Thanks for your guys watching. If you like our channel, welcome to subscribe or put a like. Thank you for your time. See you. Bye-bye.